Have you ever looked around at your life and thought,
I did everything I was supposed to do, so why does it feel like something's missing?
I know that feeling because I've lived it. For a long time, I thought building a business was about making money. Then I thought it was about creating freedom. Then I thought it was about proving something. It wasn't until I was deep into the process that I realized building a business wasn't changing my life nearly as much as it was changing me. And that caught me completely off guard. If you're thinking about starting an online business, building another stream of income, or simply wondering whether or not you're capable of creating something outside of your 9 to 5, I want you to stay with me for this one, because one lesson completely changed how I think about money, work, confidence, and safety. It also changed how I see myself. And I want you to stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share the mindset shift that made building income feel lighter, simpler, and far less intimidating than I ever imagined. And it has nothing to do with becoming someone new. When I first started building my business, I thought success was waiting somewhere in the future. I imagined there'd be this magical moment. I felt like if my website was finished, if my brand was polished, if my audience grew, if my clients consistently started showing up, then I'd finally feel like a business owner. But that moment never came. Instead, something much more interesting happened. Every new level I reached in my business introduced a brand new kind of doubt. Every milestone I hit created another opportunity for me to wonder if I belonged here. Nobody really prepares you for this part. People always talk about building offers, they talk about marketing, they talk about content calendars and email lists, but very few people talk about what happens inside your own head while you're building your business, because that's the place where most businesses are either built or abandoned. One of the biggest surprises to me, though, is that I realized entrepreneurship wasn't exposing my weaknesses. It was exposing the lies I'd been believing for years. Lies like, I need more experience. I need another certification. Someone else already teaches this. What if nobody buys? What if I embarrass myself? In the moment, those thoughts felt brand new to me, but they weren't. Building my business simply turned up the volume loud enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore. And once I realized that, everything else started making sense. See, I don't believe starting a business creates insecurity. I think it reveals where insecurity has always been making decisions all along. And that's a completely different perspective. Because if insecurity is already choosing your career, already choosing your salary, already choosing how visible you're willing to become, then staying where you are doesn't protect you. It simply makes those decisions harder to notice. That realization changed everything for me, y'all, because suddenly building a business wasn't about income anymore. It became one of the greatest personal development journeys I'd ever experienced. Not because someone told me to think positive, because every single day required me to become someone who trusted herself a little more than she did yesterday. And that's a different kind of growth. Here's something I wish more women could hear. Your confidence isn't supposed to arrive before you start. It grows because you keep showing up after you've started. Employment accidentally taught us something that entrepreneurship forces us to unlearn. At work, confidence gets borrowed. Your title gives you confidence. Your employer's logo gives you confidence. The meetings on your calendar give you confidence. Performance reviews give you confidence. And promotions reinforce your confidence. Even your paycheck reminds you every 2 weeks that somebody believes your skills are valuable. Then one day, your job changes, leadership changes, budgets change, the economy changes, or your position completely disappears. Suddenly, the confidence that felt permanent starts feeling fragile. That's not because you lost your ability, it's because your confidence was resting inside someone else's building. I know that feeling personally. On March 4th, 2026, I was on the treadmill watching the traders at 8:57 in the morning. I wasn't thinking about anything except for who was about to get voted out. Then my phone lit up. It was a meeting request from my CEO and HR. The meeting was starting in 3 minutes. I hurried off the treadmill, rushed to my office, sat down at my desk, still in my workout clothes, and I sat there for 3 minutes knowing exactly what was coming. Because you always know. That Zoom call ended my role. A role where I'd grown that company's social media following from 9,000 to over 40,000 followers. A role where I I generated nearly 2 million organic impressions just the year prior. A role where I led a webinar campaign that produced over $1 million in incremental revenue. Y'all, that's a traceable 7-figure contribution to someone else's bottom line. And it still ended in 15 minutes. When I closed my laptop, I sat in my office and felt every possible thing at once. Relief, disbelief, fear, and then underneath all of it, this one thought that I couldn't shake. Every skill I'd built across my career, they're still mine. Every lesson, every result, every piece of knowledge I'd earned the hard way, all of that was still mine. The only thing that walked out that door was my paycheck. And that told me everything else I needed to know about borrowed confidence. Because the moment I stopped relying on someone else's system to hold my sense of worth, I had to start building my own. That's where the real work started. And honestly, that's where the real freedom started too. Building a business taught me something completely different. Confidence isn't borrowed, it's built. It's built through one decision, through one client, one conversation, one scary post, one uncomfortable video, one offer. Confidence is built through one tiny promise you keep to yourself. And it's built when these things are done over and over until you eventually stop asking yourself,
do I think I can?
Because your own evidence keeps answering that question for you. That shift right there is priceless. Because once you've experienced creating opportunities for yourself, you stop seeing yourself as someone waiting to be chosen, and you become someone capable of creating options. Because having options changes the way you walk through the world. That's also why I stopped chasing business ideas. This is where I see so many incredibly talented women getting stuck. You're out here searching for the perfect idea, the perfect niche, the perfect business model, the perfect timing. The whole time, your greatest opportunity has been sitting with you the entire time. The opportunity lies in your experience, your perspective, and your ability to solve problems you've already solved. Most women are not lacking ideas. They're overlooking assets. And that's a very expensive mistake because skills compound, experience compound, wisdom compound, relationship compound. Every year you've spent leading teams, managing projects, training people, communicating, solving problems, navigating change, helping clients, those weren't just job responsibilities. Those are assets. So the question isn't whether or not those skills have value. The question is, who benefits from your skills? Right now, it's probably somebody else, but they don't have to forever. Now, let's talk about something I call the mirrors of entrepreneurship. I call them mirrors because none of them taught me something brand new. They simply reflected back things I'd never been forced to face before. Mirror number one, building a business shows you what you've been measuring yourself by. For years, I measured success the way many of us do. Good performance reviews, a growing salary, more responsibility, a bigger title. And those aren't bad things because they represent hard work, discipline, and years of commitment. But when you start building something on your own, none of those things can carry you because your title can't convince someone to buy. Your employer's reputation can't create trust for you. Your resume doesn't build relationships. In entrepreneurship, people respond to clarity. They respond to transformation. They respond to someone who understands where they are and can help them get somewhere better. That realization was both humbling and freeing for me because I stopped asking,
how impressive do I sound?
And I started asking,
how useful can I be?
Here's the thing. The internet is full of people trying to look like experts, but the people who build lasting businesses become known for helping people move forward. And those are two very different strategies. Mirror number two, clarity creates momentum. I used to think motivation came first. I thought I'd wake up one morning feeling ready, confident, certain, excited. Instead, clarity came from movement. My first post wasn't perfect. My first offer wasn't perfect. My first video definitely wasn't perfect. But every time I took action, I collected data. And that data became confidence. And that confidence made my next decision easier. Here's a quote you can screenshot. Motion doesn't create certainty, it creates evidence. And evidence is far more powerful than motivation because motivation changes with your mood, but evidence stays. Every conversation, every question someone asks, every person who says,
I needed to hear this.
All of that is evidence. And evidence quiets self-doubt much faster than positive thinking ever could. If this conversation is helping you think a little differently about this, I want to invite you to take the next step. I have a free training where I go deeper into what it looks like to build a skills-based income stream. I deep dive dive into why so many smart women stay stuck before they ever get started, and why structure matters so much more than having everything figured out. If you want the details, just drop income down in the comments and I'll make sure you get everything you need. Mirror number 3. Safety isn't something you receive, it's something you build. This one right here challenged me, y'all. Most of us grew up believing safety looked like consistency. We were taught that safety meant one paycheck, one employer, one retirement account, one career path. And for decades, that was the blueprint. But today, the world looks very different because companies restructure, departments disappear, industries evolve, technology changes faster than job description. And here's the thing, none of that means employment is bad. I still believe careers can be incredibly fulfilling, but fulfillment and safety are not the same thing. Safety comes from knowing that if one income stream changes, the rest of your life can keep moving. That's why I talk so much about multiple streams of income, not because it's trendy, but because options reduce fear. When your paycheck becomes your only strategy, every decision carries more pressure. You stay longer in situations that no longer fit. You hesitate to negotiate. You postpone dreams that matter to you. This doesn't happen because you lack courage. It's because everything feels tied to one source. And building another stream of income changes that equation, even before it replaces a dollar. Mirror number 4, your experience appreciates when you own it. This one might be my favorite one, y'all. Think about all the years you've spent building skills. Every difficult conversation, every mistake, every lesson, every presentation, every project, every client, every challenge you solve, every problem you help someone else navigate. Inside your company, those skills create value. Outside your company, they can create income. That was a huge mindset shift for me because I stopped looking at my skills like a resume and I started looking at it like intellectual property. Your skills aren't just something you list, they're something you can organize, package, teach, guide, and support. And that's one of the reasons coaching is such a powerful first business model for so many women, because it starts with something you already have. It starts with experience, not perfection, not celebrity, not a million followers. And that's the mindset shift I promised you at the beginning of this video. The one that made building income feel lighter and simpler than I ever imagined. It wasn't a new strategy. It wasn't a new skill. It wasn't a rebrand or a pivot or a total reinvention. It was looking at what I'd already built and deciding it was enough to start with. Your skills don't just have value inside your company. Your skills have value in the marketplace. And the women who figure that out stop waiting to be chosen and start building something that belongs to them. That right there is available to you right now, which is exactly why I created 2K in 2 hours, because I want you to stop sitting on skills that deserve to work for you, and I want you to see the path from what you know to what you can earn without overcomplicating it and without waiting until everything feels perfect. So if you're ready to stop wondering and get started, head over to my website at herincomeedit.com/2K or just click the link down in the description. If you're new here, my name is Nick Scott and I help women turn their existing skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses. And if you want to keep this thing going, watch this video next. It's going to challenge something else you probably believe about what it takes to get started. Okay? I'll see you there.